Every year, the channel's National Kids Cup is getting bigger and even better. It's season 6 of the football competition, and this edition, in partnership with Eco Football, will showcase grassroots talents. 4 primary schools from Lagos State will go against opponents from 12 different states of the Federation to determine who will become the champion. Come and witness their actions and thrills as these kids show their love and passion for the beautiful game. For more information, visit channelstv.com. Channels National Kids Cup. We catching them young.
Welcome to the world today on Channels Television. I am Amarachi Ubani. We're starting our program off in Thailand, where the military has gotten more involved in the crisis in the country, imposing martial law. This is according to the army. It's to prevent law and order from breaking down, and it's not a coup. That's what they said. Now, in response, the acting Prime Minister has urged the army to act under the Constitution and with no violence. Soldiers have already taken over TV and radio stations and blocked off roads in the capital, Bangkok. Martial law comes after months of escalating tensions that we've witnessed between the government and the opposition.
Thai troops secured television stations on Tuesday after martial law was declared to restore order. The declaration comes after 6 months of anti-government protests which have left the country without a proper functioning government. Military officials said the move did not constitute a coup and that the caretaker government is still in office. Thailand has been stuck in political limbo since Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and 9 of her ministers were dismissed on May the 7th after a court found them guilty of abuse of power. An acting Prime Minister has since taken over. Meanwhile, pro-government red shirts say they are weary of the military presence following the declaration of martial law, while some Bangkok residents say they feel safer after 6 months of street protests. Also, Australia, South Korea and the Philippines say they are closely monitoring the situation in Thailand and call for a quick solution to the country's months-long crisis. The crisis, the latest installment of a near-decade-long power struggle between ousted former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, Yingluck's brother, and the royalist establishment, has brought the country to the brink of recession. The military, which put down a protest movement in 2010, has staged numerous coups since Thailand became a constitutional monarchy in 1932, the last one in 2006 to oust the former telecommunications tycoon Thaksin.
Well, over in nearby China, the country has accused the United States of hypocrisy after the latter charged 5 of Beijing's army officers with economic cyber espionage. China says the U.S. is also guilty of spying on other countries, including Beijing, and accuses the U.S. of double standards. The Asian country has summoned the U.S. ambassador in Beijing over the incident, saying relations will be damaged. U.S. prosecutors say the officers stole trade secrets and internal documents from 5 companies and a labor union.
The United States on Monday charged 5 Chinese military officers and accused them of hacking into American nuclear, metal and solar companies to steal trade secrets. This further inflames tension between the two world powers over cyber espionage.
The indictment alleges that these PLA officers maintained unauthorized access to victim computers to steal information from these entities that would be useful to their competitors in China, including state-owned enterprises. In some cases, they stole trade secrets that would have been particularly beneficial to Chinese companies at the time that they were stolen. In others, they stole sensitive internal communications that would provide a competitor or an adversary in litigation with insight into the strategy and the vulnerabilities of the American entity. In some, the alleged hacking appears to have been conducted for no other reason than to advantage state-owned companies and other interests in China at the expense of businesses here in the United States.
China immediately denied the charges, saying in a strongly worded foreign ministry statement that the U.S. grand jury indictment was made up and would damage trust between the two nations. The Chinese foreign ministry statement said it would suspend the activities of a Sino-U.S. working group on cyber issues, which American officials believe refers to a joint effort established in April 2013 involving State Department expert Chris Painter and China Foreign Ministry official Dai Bing. But the State Department spokesperson, Jin Paskis, said that the State Department believes the United States can still have a constructive relationship with China, even after 5 Chinese military officers were indicted by a U.S. grand jury.
Well, we expect the Chinese government to understand that today's announcement relates to the law enforcement investigation of individuals who have stolen intellectual property from U.S. businesses. It does not mean we continue to believe, and this is relevant to us, our role here at the State Department, that we can have a constructive and productive relationship with China. We're ready to work with China to prevent these types of activities from continuing.
Officials in Washington have argued for years that cyber espionage is a top national security concern. The indictment was the first criminal hacking charge that the United States has filed against specific foreign officials and follows a steady increase in public criticism and private confrontation, including at a summit last year between U.S. President Barack Obama and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Officials declined to estimate the size of the losses to the companies, but said they were significant.
Well, a train collision in Russia has left at least 5 people dead southwest of the capital, Moscow. Several carriages were derailed in the crash, which occurred after a freight train hit a passenger train near Bekesovo 1 station. That's 60 kilometers from the capital. Those injured have been carried from the train to hospitals as emergency services rushed to the scene. A passenger train was on its way from Moscow to Chisinau in Moldova. Russia's emergencies ministry said at least 4 people were killed and 15 others injured. The cause of the accident was not immediately clear at the time of the incident. The traffic on the line, which also serves Kiev in Ukraine, was suspended as a result. Well, speaking of Ukraine, the country's richest man has called for a massive